This is the One Life Podcast, hosted by Todd Lawrence.
Yes, sir. We're back with another episode of the One Life Podcast, man. This is episode number 40. We are getting far in our journey through this one life, you know what I'm saying? Today, we are here on Main Street in East Stroudsburg at the boxing gym, Wolfsden Boxing Gym. Stay tuned, stay tapped in, keep chasing your dreams. Like I said, we got one life to do anything and everything that we put our mind to. Let's make it happen day by day. We pray, put in motion, one life, stay tapped in. Like I said, we here on Main Street at the Main Street Plaza, Wolfsden Boxing. Let's get it, come on, cross the street before we get busy again.
How you been?
How's everybody doing?
Chilling, you?
Good, always good, always good.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you. This my boy Leo right here, this Adam, the owners of the boxing gym, Wolfsden Boxing Gym on Main Street right here. Tell them a little something about this area.
This is Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, man. So it's a little town. It's a little town out here, but it's pretty compact. A lot of tourists come here. You know, we just showing love to the community, that's all.
Let's show them inside and stuff real quick. Yeah, I used to come here to this gym, man. This is bringing back great memories. And we about to go underground right now, because that's where the gym is at. When you come here, it's the aura. Before you even enter the gym, it's the aura. Oh, go, let's enter. Boom, voila. Yeah, it just smelled like hard work as soon as you enter.
We rolling. Yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
rolling. Like that's that Drake song. Yeah, we rolling. Yeah, so we're going to jump right into it because we already gave y'all the intro. You see what's going on. We here, man, at Wolfsden Boxing. This is One Life Podcast, episode number 40, hosted by your boy, Todd Lawrence. And today, I'm here with the One Life Podcast, man, and we got some more great, interesting, talented, passionate, self-driven people surrounded around me today, man. My boy Leo and my boy Adam, man, they are the owners of this boxing gym that we are currently in on the One Life Podcast, episode number 40. This is Wolfsden Boxing. Welcome to Wolfsden Boxing, located in East Stroudsburg on Main Street, man. This is One Life Podcast, episode number 40 with your host, Todd Lawrence. Welcome to Wolfsden Boxing, man. Yo, Leo and Adam, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Yeah, you made sure you told people that we filming right now, right? Because they're gonna start walking in the stuff.
Yeah, it's one of our boxers.
It's one of the boxers. The champ done crept up in there. He trying to get some TV time. But yeah, man, we about to jump right into it, man. Thank you for having me, man. You know what I'm saying? You guys got some beautiful stuff going on right now with boxing. You know what I mean? Adam, I don't know if you know, but the way I met Leo was through when I was actually boxing myself. You know what I'm saying? I was boxing. I actually boxed like probably 2 years ago. I boxed for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I actually met Leo through, shout out Coach Angel. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
Coach Angel, you was training with Coach Angel at the time back in the day, right?
Yes, I was, yep.
Yep, and I met Leo because we sparred together. Me and Leo ended up sparring together out in Mount Pocono. You know what I mean? Shout out my boy Verto McTier. Shout out Coach Jesse and Coach Angel at that gym out there in Mount Pocono, man.
Yes, sir.
They doing great things over there as well. But today we at Wolfsden and talking about it, man. When we sparred, how old was you at the time? Back in that was probably 6 years ago.
It was. I was probably like in my late 20s, like 29 at that time.
Before
you in the truck?
Man, was it in the truck? It was like, I was like going in and out, but it was like one of my days off, and then I believe I had a little bit of time off the truck, and then I came back here. I was like, I was going to fight again.
Right,
and
right.
That's when I went over there to your gym, and it was
Yeah. Yep. And then Leo came through because Coach Adrian brought him through, bro. And when I remember when I first met you, bro, when you came in the gym, he put on some gangster music. Yeah, you put on that CJ, that whoop day. He was like, go play this. When Leo came, and if y'all don't know, when it comes to this boxing game and boxing sport, you know what I'm saying? When new people come into your gym, it's like new dogs are coming into right. You know what I'm saying? It's like new dogs is coming into where you pee and sleep every day. Right. So he came in, he said, put that whoop there. I was like, oh nah, this man, he trying to murder. He trying to catch a body in here. You know what I'm saying? That day, man, that was an interesting day, man.
Yeah,
Talk about how long were you boxing already before that moment when I met you? Because that was my first or second year in the boxing game. I only boxed for 4 years, but yeah.
Man, I probably started when I was 8, because I had a grandfather that boxed, and nobody in my immediate family was boxing, but my grandfather did, and a lot of my family, they fought in the street. Like they all lived in the city in New York, and they just fought.
What part?
So like the Upper East Side, so they were fighting, and a lot of street fights they had, and then from there I just kind of like started. I started watching fighters like Tito Trinidad, things like that, the Puerto Rican style fighters, little Mexican, and I just got to watching them and just say, you know what, man, my family's always street fighting, might as well get into boxing. So I started a little bit training at home,
right,
doing a little bit, and then it wasn't until I hit like 15, 16 was when I started to work with some of the coaches. Like I didn't start off with Angel, but I ended with him.
Yeah,
and it was definitely a good moment.
So you had started boxing in the city in New York?
Yes, in New York. There wasn't really a particular gym. I was just training at home.
Right.
With my family and things like that. And then from there, I was doing other sports at the time, but there was just more and more street fights they were getting into, and I was like, man, maybe fighting is the calling.
Right. Yeah.
Ended up doing it, and then started in New York, and was in Jersey a little bit, came up here, and then once I moved up here, that's when fighting became like going to fights and sparring and things like that.
Yeah, so it's like when you had started boxing, it's like you say you started in New York, right?
Yes.
And what was it like when you first started boxing? Like that feeling of like when you first put the gloves on, when you first went and found your gym and stuff like that. How did you go about that process?
Oh man, it was you go in there thinking you're watching boxing, and your mindset, I'm pretty sure everybody goes through it. You go in there and you're thinking, I'm gonna beat up whoever I fight. That's the first thing you think of. You're like, this is who I am, this is what, and then you go in there and you fight and you realize you're nothing. You're just starting. And that was a big wake-up call. A very, very, I've went to different gyms like Gleason's and a bunch of different gyms they had down there, but for the most part when I did spar, it was like, okay, so I don't know nothing. I have talent, but I don't know anything.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I got the fire in me.
Nothing.
I got to get my skill right.
It humbles you right away. That's what boxing is so great. It humbles you right away.
Yeah.
You'll get beat up the instant you go in there.
Yeah.
And then from there you got to kind of fight through
Right.
The hard training and the hard work. So.
Right, yeah. Have you ever experienced? Did you start with boxing? Because now, if you guys watching, you know what I'm saying. These guys are teammates right now. They're partners, business owners, and they own this boxing gym, Wolfsden Boxing, here on Main Street. So I know Leo was in the boxing game just as well as me. Were you in the boxing game as well, Adam?
I wasn't boxing. I did Seido. I was in kickboxing and I wrestled.
Yeah.
Unlike Leo, I didn't come into any of my competitions thinking I'm gonna beat the shit out of the guy. I thought like, I'm real nervous. I'm scared of shit.
Right.
Got those butterflies. And I didn't have a great career. I dislocated my elbow. I broke my nose. All that type of stuff. But I got into it because I grew up out here as the only Jew out here. And my parents were like, you got to learn how to fight. This is not New York where you got a bunch of your people around here to protect you.
Right.
Learn to fight.
Right.
So it was more of a skill that I needed rather than getting into it for competitive purposes or a sport or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
How old were you?
I started in Seido when I was 12.
In Seido?
Seido it's a Japanese art.
Okay, yeah.
It's a break off of Kokushin and Ishinryu. And I got into that. I got real heavy into that for a while.
Right, and that sport is more, when it comes to like karate and stuff, it's more like self-defense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was a lot of that, and it came in use when I was in high school. Literally the only Jew. Like it's.
Did you have to use your technique at all, ever?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot. And a lot of people think they know how to fight, and they don't. And
like you were saying, right?
And when I remember this kid getting in my face, trying to take something from me, and he squares up with me, and I'm just looking at him like he's in this like. The best I could say is like. He's real low to the ground with one leg all the way out. I'm just sitting there like, what are you doing? He's like, let's go. And it wasn't real hard. Once you realize that most people they think they can fight, but they don't really.
Yeah, his stance was not connecting to what you're used to.
At all.
Right. Like, he was like, I'm about to smoke this character.
100%. And that's exactly what happened.
Humbled him real quick.
He
came back for some more.
Thinking that it was a lucky shot. And like I said, people think they know how to fight, and they don't. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm the greatest or this and that, but if you have a little bit of knowledge on what you're doing and you're used to throwing fists and everything like that,
right,
you're a lot better off than most people.
Right. Yeah. When it comes to just having composure of like, I feel like what do you guys think? I feel like boxing and combat sports in general, it creates a sense of like humbleness and as a human being, and it kind of like cultivates a type of, if you are a person that has like anger management, or if you have a lot of energy in you, you get into a combat sport and you release that inner aggression in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? So that way you see your perception has changed from there. I feel like once you actually participate in a combat sport compared to just, oh yeah, I just fight all day and I beat people up on the streets. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Because there's always somebody that's better than you. And I feel like when you're competing, it's good and best to be around people that are, may be better at you at that moment, you know what I'm saying? So that way you could learn off them and it gives you motivation. When you're in the streets, you know what I mean? You beating shrimps up and stuff, pause, no diddy, you know what I'm saying? You're not learning nothing to get that one tough day in practice to where you're like, you know what? Let me not fuck with this person, you know what I'm saying? Cause my shit's, you know what I mean? I'm building that humbleness and confidence, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Did you compete?
A little bit, yeah. I got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
No question about it.
How old were you at the time?
14.
14, yeah.
14, I started competing until I was about 16. Just got my ass beat. Like I wasn't good.
But you didn't stop after getting your ass beat?
No.
Yeah.
No, I stopped after I got married.
Okay, yes.
That changes things. That really, really quickly changes
You got married at a young age?
21. No, I had my kid at 21. I was 20.
Blessings, yeah. God bless.
Unfortunately, we're not together anymore. I mean,
yeah, but
whatever.
Yeah,
I have 2 kids.
Yes, amen. Healthy, taking care of the family, doing great things for the family.
That's it.
That's the big picture.
That's it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a journey. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
And then with combat sports, I feel like in general when you're chasing dreams and stuff like that, when it comes to like being with somebody, they need to be there with you 110, 100,000%, so that way you could stay locked in and stay focused. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. So back to you, Leo. Coming up in the boxing game and stuff like that. How far did you go within the boxing sport? In the industry,
man, so
amateurs and stuff.
A lot of people ask me. So I started at 8 years old, and then kind of just been in and out with it. Once I turned like 16, 17, I was with like a Muslim coach, and he taught me a lot of crazy things. There's certain things that I'm just like, oh, I don't even know why even teach me that. But then there's other things where it's like, I get it. Years down the line,
when you say the like what the mentality and stuff that he was teaching,
I wouldn't even say mentality. I would just more of the just kind of being there, coach, but not really being there, trying to certain things I would have to do in the fight, more like the rugged part of it. Right.
Right.
The cheap shots here, doing this there, like more of the brutal side of boxing.
Right.
But I get it. It was all about always trying to be ahead of your opponent.
Strategy.
Always strategy, always trying to put fear, in your opponent. And I was more a laid back type of guy, laid back. But you know, when I'm in the ring, we fighting.
Right.
That's just what it's gonna be. I've never been too much animosity, but when I started learning that, I was like, it's good to know, but do I really want to do that in the ring? Probably not.
Right.
So you know, just little things like that. But as far as there's certain skills, he did teach me where it was like, I remember one of the drills he told me was throwing the jab, but doing it in the 360.
Okay.
And I was like, Coach, man, you got me doing this shit every day, man. Like,
Yeah.
why am I just spinning around? I'm getting dizzy throwing these jabs.
Right.
And then as I start coaching now, you know, you see, because coaching and boxing is different. So I see it now and I'm just like, wow, I get why he did it. Or you start seeing the difference in coaches.
Right.
You know, and why it's good to stick with the ones you know.
Yeah.
Because you start learning different things and you throw it in your arsenal and then it kind of throws you away from what they were teaching.
Yes.
So there's a lot of different things, but it was, you know, it's been a good journey so far.
Right, and I experienced that, what you're saying, as far as sticking with one coach, you know what I'm saying? Because
Well, at
you
least
guys,
the team of coaches that you do have.
absolutely, 100%. You're a coach, you're a coach as well, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying when you say sticking to this one coach. When I was boxing, I started with a coach and then I went in transition. That was just me journeying and trying to find, you know, what would work best for me. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, yeah.
Because I guess sometimes throughout your sport career, you know what I'm saying, or your career to successful life in this one life, it's like, you know, you might try this, but then that may work for you, and then you take that, and then you might want to try this. But certain things, it is good to just stick it all the way through, because
100%.
those cold words and those secrets, they last forever and they stay safe, and it'll take you further, depending on your strategy and stuff, because it could get confusing when you keep switching up and switching up. You know what I'm saying?
You don't know where you want to go, and we see fighters that do that, and you know, I just wish them the best, because like they really don't understand. You know, you got your set coaches, and then you have everybody else after that, and everybody's different. You have some defensive coaches, more offensive coaches. You have, it's just all different types of coaches that they teach you things. Some try to do both, and you know, it just, you don't want to get too confused.
Right. Yeah.
Like first you're an offensive fighter, but now you got to dance all over the ring, or now you want to be a counter fighter. You know, it confuses a fighter.
Different styles.
You know, you build them one way, train them that way, and then as time goes by, you slowly teach. You know,
right.
Whether it's moving more better in the ring.
It's a relationship that you're building, because the more they get to know you, the more they understand, oh, he's not going to be able to do that in the ring, or he is able to do this in the ring. We've had kids where we're working on, throw to the body, throw to the body, throw to the body. And then their cousin comes to see them at a fight, and they'll be like, yo, what you got to do is you got to dance around the ring and this and that. And the kid's never practiced that. And it's his third fight in, and all we've been working on is going to the body, or we've been working
Sticking
on
to the basics.
Exactly. And it's like, you haven't been around this kid. You don't know what he's capable of, what he's not capable of.
Right.
And we know all his habits, all his weaknesses, strengths.
Right.
And we had it where, on the ride down to the fight, the father's like, yo, what you got to do is da-da-da-da-da. And we're like, yo, that's not what we're teaching here. And then during the fight, they're listening to the father, or they're listening to whoever that's not their coach,
right,
who's built this relationship with them. And it's like, yo, why am I bothering doing this sometimes? But, like, you have a real heart-to-heart conversation with that kid right afterwards. It's like, yo, I'm here with you. You don't go to a doctor and say, Doc, I think I broke my hand, when they're sitting there telling you, yo, it's your shoulder that's fucked up. You know, the doctor knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Same thing with your coach.
I think it's like kind of like training a pet. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that us humans are pets, but it's like the concept of training, learning a technique, learning a strategy, learning a trick, and you stick with, and you know that voice.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It keeps you tunneled in. It keeps you on track.
100%.
So to say. So tell me, guys, why boxing? Why boxing? Out of all the sports or the businesses that you could have opened up, why open a boxing gym?
Want to go first, or?
So, I mean, we both have a fight background, and so just like how you met Leo with Coach Angel, right over there with Coach T. He was in the truck. He just got out of the truck, and we were taking one of the classes together, and that's how we met. And ever since then, we were talking on the phone. And at one point,
a beautiful story.
Oh my God! One night, I'm pretty sure I was drunk as shit when I was talking to him, and it was usually the case. Sure, why not? Yeah. Celebrated. I like that. It's a good way of putting it. Leo said to me, he's like, yo, if I could, I'd own a boxing gym. like, I've always wanted to own a gym. And there was another gym that was here before us where I had met you too.
Yeah.
He sold it to somebody else.
Shout out AJ, man.
Shout out AJ. He actually owns the saloon upstairs now.
Right, great dude. Great dude.
Actually, that's where we got the Zimmies from.
Yes, sir. Shout out AJ and Signatures Academy and the saloon. What is it called again?
Signature Saloon.
Shout out Signature Saloon, man. Great dude, great people.
And he had sold it to somebody else. He sold it to Rob, and it didn't go very far. And he closed it down. I don't know. I think it was like 4 or 5 months later. I was in the process of losing my job. Our company was bought out by another company, and I call up Leo and I go, "Yo, I've got no job, and I've got no gym." And Leo's like, "Yo, what do you mean you got no gym?" I go, "I'm opening up a boxing gym, with or without you, bro."
It's that go mode. It's that go time.
It's my
back against the wall.
Exactly. And I remember talking to I was a paralegal at the time, and he said to me, the lawyer that I was working under, he said, "Adam, if you go and try and get another job, you're just going to get fired. You're not the type of person that can work for somebody else." He goes, "I tolerated you." He goes, "I love you. You do good work, but you're a pain in the ass."
Yeah, you're your own boss.
You're your own boss, exactly. And since then, I was just like, all right, well, I guess I got to figure this out because
go for it.
Yep. I didn't go to college, didn't go to no further education than high school, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to make something of myself, and that's when I called Leo, and.
And what was that like for you when you got that call? Like, where was your head at? Because now, were you boxing at the time when you got that call still? Or you were, because I know you said you stopped boxing and you did go into truck driving, because I remember Coach Angel mentioning that to me about, he said, yeah, he's truck driving now, when I was wondering what happened. And so boom, when you got that call, what was going on in your life?
Man, wow.
Taking
it
you
brings
back
memories, because it's like, people don't even realize, so I was a truck driver. And they don't realize, like, the stress that you go through as a driver.
As a truck driver,
like,
right?
And I did it 10 years brutally. I mean, I'm talking about driving, like, illegally, driving a lot of hours, doing this, doing that. And it was like just my mindset, was just...
Pick your mic up some, you good.
My mindset was just shot. Like, it was just, I didn't know anything other than I knew I boxed and I was a truck driver. The worst is, you're making money truck driving, but you're putting so many hours in. It's like you come back home and you're like,
you don't got no
I had
time
no
to
life.
train.
I had no life. I had nothing. And when he gave me a call, because the reason why I came to the gym,
right,
when I was in, I came to the gym after I was done with trucking, because I needed to have an outside life. Mm-hmm. And then Adam was there. So when he gave me the call and said, this is what he wants to do, it was a great moment. It was like, okay, I could do this by myself.
Right.
But if I do it by myself, I'm a truck driver, I have to make money, I have to, so it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
So having him as my partner, it relieved a lot. But when he called me and was talking to me about it, I was just surprised. And then once the conversation was over, I was like, okay.
It's perfect timing.
So we're gonna own this gym.
I guess we're doing this.
Yeah.
We're going to own this gym.
And the thing is, like, we didn't, other than the phone conversations that we had, we didn't know each other. It wasn't like we have, years of hanging out together, best friends.
Right.
This was not only did we grow the gym, but we grew our relationship as business partners, friends.
Right.
It was the scariest moment, man. To look at someone and, not really know them as much, and then just do a
collab with them,
collab
work with them as a teammate.
We're like a married couple in this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you know what? I would like to add something to that when it comes to like having a team and getting to your success as a team. It's like, I feel like, when you snap into that mode, like you said you snapped into, Adam, that tunnel vision mode, it seems like, your mind was set on this goal to make it and become successful. And I feel like once you meet another person who's open to that same picture and vision, it collides very well. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, okay, this person I'm talking to about what I'm trying to do, he's already trying to become very successful too. So he sees my vision. why not work together? And usually it goes like this. You start with somebody when you start team working with somebody on a successful venture or whatever the case may be. You give it a couple months and you'll be able to see from that teammate how serious they are with making this dream come true. And it seems like you guys have been very serious because this gym has came far and it's still going very far. You guys have had professional fighters in here so far. You've had a bunch of tournaments, world champions, right? You know, who are a couple of them that you had in here so far?
Tevin Farmer has had a few camps in here.
Right.
Shadeja Green comes in here every once in a while.
Yeah, shout out Shadeja Green.
No doubt. The face of women's boxing is what she is.
Yep.
She comes in here. We've had Edwin de los Santos in here.
Yeah.
I think those are the bigger.
Right, and you run amateur tournaments and bouts, right? You guys, I hosted the first one, I think it was, or the second one. It was Rumble in the Den.
That's it.
Rumble in the Den, and we got Rumble in the Den number 3 coming up, right? What is that, May
31st.
May 31st, Rumble in the Den, number 3. Yeah, that's the same day of my show. I think I'll be here first and I'll go to my show. But yeah, man, this has been like chasing your dreams and making success come together. It's a process, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't happen overnight. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you guys have had some, like, in the beginning, like, tough times where it was like when you first started it.
It's been
talk about that, right?
It's been tough quite a bit. Like
right.
in the beginning, we were outside handing out papers, marketing. Yo, come on in, and we blew up real quick. We got real big real quick, and it was real good. And then the problem with doing it by hand and coaching at the same time is that you can't be in 2 places at once.
Right.
So now you have a full gym, and you can't be outside marketing.
Right.
And what happened was after a few months, people were like, "Yo, I gotta cancel summer's coming around. I gotta cancel my membership, or I'm getting into comedy. I gotta cancel my membership."
Yeah. He's speaking to me. Yeah. Yeah. No, he's telling the truth. Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But
one life.
That's it. I mean, you made it into this beautiful thing.
One life is part of the journey. You know what I'm saying? Like how he came from and you came from karate to keep going. Right.
That's it. And so what ended up happening is that you can't be in 2 places at once. So people started leaving, and we're sitting there looking at each other like, "What the fuck do we do?" Right. And we would have these seasonal things where kids would come in after the summer, after the football season's over, whatever, and we'd be okay. But then we have a downturn again, and it was like that. Last summer was our worst. Toughest. Oh my God! I think we had 3 members. Mm-hmm. It's really what it was.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah,
it was bad. And
how did you deal with that? Like, yeah.
Leo has a career. He got back in the truck. I was using my money from my job to
we grinded is what we did.
Our families were like, "Yo, we need to pay our bills too."
Right.
Thankfully our ladies have
shout out Mother's Day. Shout out all the beautiful women out there, the strong women doing their thing. 100%. Keep doing your thing.
But the 2 of them, me and Kelly, they both put everything behind us because they saw what we were trying to do, and they were patient. Thank God. And we got into Facebook marketing, and we got with one company, and then we got with another company, and we started seeing a little bit of success. And what ended up happening is after Leo got back out of the truck for the 3rd time, I think it was.
Right.
Something like that, right? We had this list of leads that we were like, "Yo, how do we get these leads into the gym?" So we were just like, that line from Wolf of Wall Street.
Pick up the phone and start dialing. That's what we did, man.
We listened to that, I don't know, 10 times every day.
Yep, strategy.
That whole thing.
Yep.
And we just hammered the phone. Just hammered it. And we packed the gym out.
Started telling people we're here. We're on Main Street.
Yep. Man, I think I spoke to at least 150, 200 people. I mean, we was just
every day,
one by one. I've heard story. I'm like,
we're on Main Street. Come down.
Come on down.
This is the gym you want to be in.
Wolfsden Boxing.
Yeah, we went from, I don't know, $1,000 in revenue every month to, I think last month we topped line at 13,000.
Hey, feed the great news. It's all good. Yeah, business is booming, baby.
That's it.
Thank God.
Come on down. Get that training in.
Wolfsden Boxing, Main Street.
Yeah. And we're still growing, and we're about to enter the slow season, and we still have people that are looking. I think I keep getting notifications on my watch that somebody just signed up for a free trial class.
Right.
So our calendar is constantly full.
Right.
And we're just growing and growing and growing. Thank God we gotten in touch with the right people, got put the right messages in front of us to figure out how to start building this back up to what we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's, every day it was either working on, then we started marketing ourselves to cut out the middleman.
Right.
And we Leo's working on calling people. I'm sitting on the computer trying to figure out how to get the bot to do certain things, and we're trying to figure out how to create a funnel.
Just constant grind.
Teamwork.
Constant grind.
And if he wasn't doing it, I was doing the other thing, and it would go back and forth. And Leo would be like, "Yo, you gotta show me how to do this in case you're sick one day or whatever." And we sit there and we're just constantly looking for new strategies to grow this and
communication, boy. We just constant communication. We understand each other, you know, and it's hard to find that. You hear about other boxing gyms that were here, or just anywhere, in this area, and they always fail, especially people that have like partners.
Right.
It's hard to find somebody you can collab with, and they're giving you the same energy.
Yes.
And if he's down one day, I'm picking him up. If I'm down, I know he's coming to pick me up.
Nothing personal.
Yeah, it's just love.
The first day we were open, I looked over at Leo. There was nobody in here, and I look over at Leo, and I'm like, "Yo, are we gonna be okay?
Yeah.
Like, what do we do?" He goes,
Reassurance.
"It's open. It's going to happen."
God did.
That's it.
Yeah.
Good.
I was like, as long as those doors are open, they'll come.
Yep.
And
that's the truth.
And that's
it.
That's what happened, man. And it's just a lot. There's so many stories. I mean, I think this is a topic we should talk about because like people don't even realize like, I'm Spanish, and I obviously Adam's white and whatnot, and
Caucasian, and I'm black.
Caucasian, yeah, and
African American.
What people don't realize is
I got some white too, though.
Oh, definitely.
What people don't realize, I had to tell you.
What people don't realize is like kind of the racism out here. There still is. Just as far as us moving in the business, whether if we go to a bank, they'll look straight at him.
Right.
100%.
Every time.
Right.
Coming to the gym, they're looking at me.
Right.
If anybody's talking about money,
they go, "Who's the trainer here?" "Hi, I'm Coach Adam." They go, No, who's the real trainer? All the time.
Right.
It's rough,
Right,
dealing with this on a regular basis, but we've learned how to just.
Right. And did you see the movie Sinners?
No.
Yes, I've seen the movie, yes.
So it's a deep message in just business and corporations, and I feel like you just respect the playing field that you're in and take it day by day. You know what I'm saying? I feel like as long as you give respect, it'll always come back to you. It 100%. Won't miss you. You know what I'm saying? It may miss you today, but tomorrow you might get it in tenfold. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I feel like don't take things personal, especially when you run in business. You know what I mean? And take it day by day. You know what I mean? When you have that vision already of where you perceive yourself to end and be, you know what I mean? Definitely. We're going to be on top of the pyramid, no Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, it's like, yeah, this person don't believe it. This person don't believe it. This person don't believe it. But guess what? Those people you working with believe it and you believe it. So it's like, let's motivate those out there who don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? And inspire them. It's the perception. I feel like perception is reality. You know what I mean?
And I feel like everything you said was correct, and discipline too is so key. Because even when we first started, everybody's like, "Who are these guys?
Right?
Who are these two young boys?" And we just kept on the same line, discipline, like just doing what we have to do. How do we grow this?
Right.
Continue to grow.
Yeah.
Show everyone that look what we're doing.
Right.
Throwing events, trying to put all the pieces together, and I think that's the part people are starting to now see. Like, oh, okay, so there was a beginning to this.
Yes.
And now this is where they're at, and this is all just the beginning.
It's the journey.
It still feels like the beginning. So
yeah.
But it's a beautiful journey, though.
Amen. Yeah, one life. Yeah. Wolfsden Boxing for sure. Episode number 40. So when it comes to boxing, right? What do you guys love the most?
The energy of it. Just the people that are dedicated to it, seeing their dedication become something greater, and whether it's business or anything like that, just everything. If you put 100% into it, most people are not putting 100% into anything.
Right. And
as long as you keep coming back in the consistency, especially the consistency, because there's a lot of people out there with a lot of talent, but if you're not consistent with it, you're not going to grow. You're not going to be the best. And it's no different than us hammering the phones. We were just consistent with it. We were not going to let this fail. And it was an everyday thing, as mind-numbing as it is, having that same fucking conversation over and over again. Yo, we got a free class. I saw you were interested, da-da-da. Still made it happen. And it translates into every single person that comes in here. And we have these little kids that are here every day, and they take the class. Coach Leo's working with them on footwork, on moving their head, this and that. And afterwards, after the class, they hop on the treadmills, and they do 2 miles on the treadmill. And they're 9, 10 years old. And then you see these other guys that are 20 years old, and they're like, yo, I did my hour piece. And you're like, oh, I know who's gonna go somewhere and who's not. And then we have Khalik, who you saw walking in the background before.
Right.
He literally lives in the gym. Right. He's here.
Shout out Khalik, and shout out all the other great boxers out there. Shout out Verto McTeer, just won the Golden Gloves.
Verto's another one.
He's going places.
He's down here at least once a week, working with Khalik, because he knows that Khalik is dedicated to the craft. Khalik knows that Verto's dedicated, and 100%. It's a war every single time. And they walk out and they're the best friends.
Yes,
but like, it's the dedication that makes you great, right? And in anything that you do, whether you're boxing or you're doing business or you want to be an actor or whatever it is, as long as you keep grinding.
No matter what.
Keep grinding and sharpen that sword.
Yeah.
That's...
To be honest with me, I think the best part is when you go, whether it's a kid or an adult. People don't realize it becomes like a father-son, father-daughter relationship almost, with these kids or, even adults.
Right.
They look at you as like a figure in their lives because you're teaching them how to fight.
Yeah.
But I think one of the greatest moments is going with a fighter that you've been training with 6 months to a year, and then they win their first fight.
Yeah,
that is
the feeling behind it.
Because I when I won my first fight, I know what I felt like. It was like, finally, I know I can do this. So when these kids, when they win their first fight, they love it. They love it. You know what I mean? And especially
the smile on the faces.
The smiles, exactly. The only thing that gets challenging is when you already are a gym that already has kids that are winning.
Right.
Now the next kids have a different type of. It's like, okay, I won, but I need to win more.
Yes,
these
motivation.
Kids are like 10-0 or 11-1 and this and that. So
I feel like it's motivation.
It's constant motivation. It's a lot more pressure, but they're sparring with them every day. They're dealing with them. So
sharpening their sword.
If you're sparring with somebody that's obviously better than you, you're only gonna get better. But winning the first fight for sure is one of my best parts. And then as far as the ego, I would say more like when you go to a show, and you got 4, 5, 6 fighters,
right?
And every single one of them can fight their ass off,
right?
And you gave them the recipe, and then they all go to a fight and win.
Yes,
like that's got to be a damn good feeling, man. When you're a coach and you got all these other coaches, like maybe their stature looks bigger than yours, or they just stronger, maybe coach or maybe Metsy, but then when you go there with your people and you're like, but all my people are winning,
right? Yeah,
it's like a different
feeling.
It's like a one-on-one with the coaches. So it's all great, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
What has been since you guys started coaching? What has been like the toughest thing for you guys as coaches when it comes to coaching a boxer?
Coaching a boxer, I think some of the hard parts of it, and coaches understand this. You have some kids that are just talented, and then you have one that may not be as talented. Maybe somebody that's talented could do footwork in a week, and then maybe another kid, it will take them maybe 2-3 months to figure out even just how to go forward and backwards.
Right.
I think to me, working on footwork is one of the hardest parts because I feel like anybody can punch and do things, but footwork is a craft that not everybody knows how to do.
Right.
And when you start teaching them that, because that is part of
incorporating it into
that is part of my training and what you need to learn if you're training with me. But I think that's one of the hardest parts, the footwork, and the other part is them not listening. Like moving your head. Right. It's very important. And,
moving your head. Yeah, that's one thing that I challenged with, like when I started, because it's like you're moving around the ring and you're. Yep. But it's like.
Or you're moving and still getting hit. You're like, how is this possible? I'm moving, but you're not though.
Right.
It's just a certain way you have to move. So.
Yeah.
A lot of that kind of, gets going.
Right.
I'd say dealing that's. Dealing with an established boxer, somebody that has 25 fights, and we're young, and getting the respect from them.
Yeah.
And when they don't have the respect from you,
the cockiness.
They think they know better
like
than
Antonio
you.
Brown coming into the field, right?
We had one boxer who he had a fight on ESPN, and we were we watched film on his opponent, and we gave him a game plan. This is what you got to do. And for 3 months, we were working on coming forward, throwing a lot of punches, moving your head, never going backwards, and just volume of punches. And he got in plenty of work. He was a 130-pound fighter, and he would get in with Shadeja. She gave him great work, and throughout the entire camp, he was listening. He was doing great. And we get out to Oklahoma, and he turns to us and he goes, "I just need to throw that one good hook." And we're like,
this was his first fight? Or?
No, he's had 25 fights. What was it, 30 fights at that point?
Right, so he's already got his own.
Okay. So. And because we're young, we don't know shit. But the reality is that we've already broken down what this fighter is. We knew that if the fighter was on his back foot, he couldn't throw punches. He didn't know how to. And all we kept telling him is, you got to come forward. You got to come forward and throw punches. Come forward, throw punches. Right. You will mess this guy's game up. And the commentators were sitting there going, go forward, move your head. And the commentators go, the coaches are giving him good advice. He's just not listening.
Right.
And it was the lack of respect that we got from
the disconnection right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier, when it comes to like, I feel like, when you have a coach, you need to just be quiet and listen to everything that they tell you, because you guys came up with a game plan in practice. You know what 100%. I'm saying? So it's like you need to, if he says step right, because he sees something. Because the coach is on the outside of the ring. You know what I'm saying? You're in the fight. And I remember, being in boxing and sparring and stuff like that. The person who's watching you fight, which is the coach on the outside of the ring, he can see what you can't see.
It's missing the forest for the trees.
Right. So you may feel like, yeah, I got to throw this right hook. But coach says, no, you need to throw more jabs. You need to throw more jabs. Stick to the plan.
That's it.
Which you guys practice.
100%.
Yeah.
And a lot. We've been battling a lot as far as just trying to get respect in this game.
Right.
And
I feel like it's the combat sport.
Yep.
And with any type of I feel like competition or entertainment, there's going to be competition.
100%. And you even if you don't want that, it's coming.
Right, and you got to enjoy that.
Yes.
Because I feel like that is going to, like people say, it's going to make you or break you, that saying.
It's come to the point where it's like, at this point now, it's like, okay, in the beginning, because we were kind of new, but we kind of had knowledge, it was like, okay, people doubted us, whatever the case may be. But now it's like you said, it's becoming fun now. Now I'm like, okay, what are they going to say now? Right now, we're building these amateur fighters.
Right, building great connections.
And with me with coaching, it's more like, okay, think what y'all want, right? But it's like, okay, but now let me start showing you what's going on.
Right.
We have one fighter, Khalid Muhammad, 9-1.
Oh, and beautiful, nice.
9-1 with a bunch of belts.
Yeah, nice. That's beautiful.
We gave him a nickname, man. One Drop.
One Drop. Shout out One Drop. Yeah.
But he's
performing in the battle in the Rumble in the Den 3.
Yes. And what people don't realize is his work ethic. Like, they have no clue. Like, they didn't have no clue the work ethic and how much better he's getting. And he's only a year and some change in.
Right.
I've been around here for a long time, and I haven't heard of nobody 9-1 as an amateur.
9-1, yes.
And that's beautiful. He was 9-0.
And that's busy as an amateur because
in 1 year.
Exactly. And you said in 1 year. When I was boxing for 4 years. Now, to touch base on, Khalid being 9-1, I weighed in for the Golden Gloves tournament when I was boxing, probably on my 3rd year of boxing, because I was getting my skills together and getting ready. By the time I was ready, I weighed in for the Golden Gloves tournament, which was during COVID kind of. Mm-hmm. I weighed in, shaved my beard. I had no opponent through the whole tournament, got 2 trophies, went 2-0 in amateur. Then after that, I had another one-night show, shaved my face and everything, had no opponent. I swear, I lied to you not. Got another trophy. So I just put that together in my head. And that's after 3 years. So you're saying Khalid has only 1 year and he's 9-1. He's doing great things. And he's a lot of things in life I feel like are meant for people. And you just have to pay attention to the timeline in your life when you're chasing certain dreams and goals to become successful. Pay attention to your timeline, because it'll be able to speak very loud words to you, whether it's like, yeah, this is you're gonna become very successful in here, or you know, it's going to take you a very, very long time. And ultimately, I feel like that's a personal decision that you have to sit down and make because, you know, with certain things in sports, not everything has to be taken as I want this to be my career. You know what I'm saying? Some people come into the boxing gym just for the exercise. You know what I'm saying? Some people do certain things just to be there. You know what I mean? Just to go hiking. You know what I'm saying? And some people get paid to do rock climbing. Some people get paid to like BMX and be. So it's like whatever level you perceive and you want to take your one life to, you have to lock in on that picture right there
100%.
and respect it because it's going to take time and patience. But shout out Khalik once again. Shout out Verto McTier. When you see the progress within the time that you're putting in, listen to what God's telling you.
100%.
For sure.
So that's pretty much how we take it now. So, you know, the way we do it is we just keep growing, you know, and as we're growing, we're learning so many things in the process and we know what to do, what not to do. And, you know, we're basing everything just off winning.
Right.
You know, as we're growing, everyone's growing with us.
Right.
We're winning together. And if it's, you know, if you're talking about two people making all this happen, well, then so be it.
Amen.
And we're going to continue
to
make it happen because one of the greatest things of, you know, just owning a business, owning a boxing gym is the love people give you. You know?
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're changing little kids' lives.
Right.
You're changing kids that get bullied, you're changing their lives. You know, you're giving these kids discipline because boxing is not easy.
Yeah.
So, you know, you start doing these things and people look at you differently, you know, because you're bringing back to the community, you're helping back.
Yeah.
And boxing gyms, they do way more than it's just a gym where kids fight. You know, people are changing their lives. And
Right.
every time we're done, we close at 7 o'clock. We don't ever close.
Right.
There's people. There was damn
Still
near.
training.
Yeah, they're still training. You got a bunch of people conversing because it's more than just. Even though we're boxing and we're winning, and you know when you come to this gym, you think, okay, I can be a champion or damn near close to it, or that's your mindset that you want.
Yeah.
You also have to understand you're meeting people. You know, you're meeting some of the parents, and
Yes.
even the parents get involved, and it's all love.
Yeah, amen.
Go to a place where if you're even somewhat of a good person, people gonna love you.
Yes.
They're gonna show you. If you're in a fight, you're gonna have a bunch of people cheering for you.
Right, yeah.
You know, so that's what changes a lot. You know,
Amen,
camaraderie that you have in the gym.
Right.
Somebody walks down, it's like, damn, I got friends here.
Yeah.
You know, family here.
And that's what we do, and that's what we're doing now. You guys are doing down here at the Wolfsden Boxing Gym right now. Bringing people together, you know what I mean? Keeping kids out the streets, you know what I'm saying? And just like giving people another outlet, like how God has blessed you guys to be able, you're blessing others to be able.
100%.
That's the thing. That's what I love about, you know, when people start to like connect their dots on their one life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a beautiful thing, you know what I mean? A lot of people, it's been raining, right? It's like, as soon as it starts to rain, people get bent. Oh, man, the rain, I can't stay in the rain. You know what I tell people? I say, man, beautiful flowers and plants are growing right now.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? We need this. God is watering the beautiful things that are out there that you can't see right now. The seed is planted. Don't worry. You're going to see it grow after the rain stops. You're going to see the rainbow. You know what I'm saying? The pot of gold is there, bro.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And you know, we talk about like Verto doing what he's doing. What's so great about that is, you know, people don't realize Stroudsburg and Mount Pocono is not too far. Right? We're talking about like 20, 25 minute drive.
Right.
But the point is even with, you know, the Gym Vertos at, you know, F2, shout out to them. Like, what they don't realize is we're like brothers, man. You know, our card on May 31st is Mount Pocono and us against everybody else.
Right.
You know, and you can't, you know, you got to really build
right.
to do that.
And even beyond that, I want to touch base on that. Even beyond you saying you and Mount Pocono, Wolfsden and Mount Pocono being together to go against them, I feel like when you change your perception in life, it's like you need those other boroughs to even put on a show.
Absolutely.
So it's like when you start to change your perception in life, it's like you don't look at it no more of like, you know, you might look at it as like, I got to win. I'm competing against these people. But in the same sense, you look at it as, you know, these people, we're making it happen. Like, for example, I'm wearing a Tank a hoodie, right? You know what I'm saying? Shout out Tank Davis, Javante Davis. You know what I mean? He just fought Roach and stuff like that. Anybody that goes and fights Tank Davis is getting a big payday.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, no matter who doesn't like who or, I don't like that town or whatever, when we come together and we entertain, because I feel like that's what boxing is. It's entertainment. It's combat entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So we need each other. So we're not beefing, but let's just train. This gym's going to train this way. That gym's going to train that way. And then let's see what gym wins on Monday, what gym wins on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you're not going to always win. You know what I'm saying? Especially not in sparring. You know what I mean? Maybe when you get to professional league and stuff, people want to keep their O's and stuff and all that stuff and all that good stuff, right? But I feel like behind closed doors, when you're practicing with boxing, you need to spar and stuff, you're going to take L's. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And those L's are going to make you better and improve you. You know what I'm saying?
That's where you learn.
You know, so I feel like people just fix your perception, and there's there's competition, but it's all great competition.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't hate you, you know what I mean? But we got to get it. You know what I'm saying? We're going to, may the best gym win.
That's it. But, you know, it's all friendly. Like, we done. We already know what it is. Yo, if y'all need us, we got
entertained today. You know what I'm saying? The fighters were safe and stuff like that, and we put on a great show.
That's
you know
it.
what I mean?
That's it, man.
Yeah. So when you were boxing, let's get back into the boxing. We're going to wrap it up a little bit. How much more time we got, Jay? Where are we at right now? What is it? Okay, beautiful. So we're cutting into it. We're on beautiful timing. But when you were boxing, Leo, did you ever get knocked out? Because I got knocked out. Yeah, I got knocked out one time. I'm going to tell the people, yeah. I got knocked down.
That was the first
maybe
time I
twice,
met you, too.
But I got knocked out once. When I got knocked down, you met me.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Shout out that KO. He calls his name. What's his name? Shout out Shaquem, man. He's a great fighter. When I say he's a great fighter, that dude, he's strong, and he was dedicated when I met him. You know what I'm saying? He's a great person. So yeah,
he comes in
he put
here.
Me down.
He comes in here about 4 times a week,
hitter.
and he trains with Cliff Ransom.
Yeah.
Who's Larry Holmes' original trainer.
Right, yeah.
Who Leo trained under Larry Holmes for a while.
I was with him for a little bit.
But yeah, shout out, good, great person, man. Keep doing great things. One life.
He's doing real good.
Yeah, and I got knocked out though. He knocked me down. You know what I'm saying? Great sparring. Like I said, you got to be truthful, especially when you're in combat sports. And I'm out of a combat sport. Dudes that's still in the combat sport, they be lying sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? Who got the best in sparring? You know what I mean? I never went down. Come on, son. I got to tell the truth. You know what I'm saying?
So I think
and before you go, right? Shout out that dude and Tank, Coach Terrific trained a dude named Tank in East Hanover, New Jersey. He put me down one time in sparring, like knocked me out. Like it was good sparring. Like strong, heavy hitter. He's a great dude, great person. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Coach T and that whole entire gym. Shout out Rajon Chance and Shadeja Green and also Horse. Since we're speaking on that gym, the dude named Horse, what's his name? I don't want to fuck his name up, but you know I'm talking about Horse. Shout out Horse, man. He just got back into the pros. That dude, he was the person that hit me the hardest in my 4 years of boxing. Out of all the people I sparred, he hit me the hardest. Like, you know, he didn't knock me down or nothing, but that dude, I know why they call him Horse. It felt like a horseshoe hit me. Shout out Horse, man. That's a great fighter, man.
Yeah, he's pretty
solid.
solid.
Yeah, have you ever been knocked out when you were sparring and fighting?
So knocked down, I took a knee. But I think, because I've never been like fully knocked out, but I would say this, I did fight.
Shout out your toughest sparring partner. Because that's what I basically just
years
did.
Ago. I don't even know his name, but there was it was more in the beginning. But back to your question, what you were saying was like, I think the worst part is when you just physically. So there was a couple fights that I had. I think the worst as a fighter is when you fighting somebody, and he's just physically beating you up. Like there's nothing you can do. Almost like everything you train, you're just a step behind.
Right.
You move your head, but he caught you with something. Or you throw a jab, he already done, countered you. Or, and there was probably like 4 or 5 fights that I was just getting beat up the whole time.
Right.
And then one of the fights, it was kind of like this, and it was just to a point where I was like, damn, what am I gonna do? So I would take a knee. Ref is like, are you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But in my mind,
you were
I'm
tired?
Like, I wasn't even tired. I just can't physically
beat you. He was beating you down.
He was if I hit him hard and caught him good, he called me back with something. I'm just like, man, this is. And then he started weighing and second round. I'm just like, wow. And then he would start hitting me in my elbows, and it was an experienced fighter. I was just like, wow, like he's beating me to every step. And then the last round came and took a knee again, because I'm like, if I keep going, I'm gonna get knocked out. Like I'd rather just take a knee. And then when the ref came back and asked me like, are you good? I I was like, nah, I ain't good. And then he stopped the fight.
That was amateurs?
So, it was amateurs, yeah. And I was like, wow, like, you know, because I had a problem with always fighting at, instead of 168, I would go 175.
Right, yeah.
And I wasn't.
Dieting and stuff, yeah.
Dieting was hard for me.
Right.
Real hard for me. I can, you know, and then when I made 168, I would do good, and then go be at 175, and shit was just, they were strong, but that was one of the things that happened. So.
Right, yeah.
And then I had this one dude that I sparred with. He was a Spanish dude. Looked like he was on steroids, man. And
like Tyson
that was like in Mount Pocono. I was like, looked at my coach, you know, it was more towards me. I'm like, should I be doing this?
Right, yeah.
This dude's a monster. You know, when you standing in one side of the corner, see the monster on the other side.
Yeah. You see a shadow.
You start thinking like, I hope my best is, you know, it's going to be good enough.
You start putting on that CJ Whoopie. Yeah, you go in that zone. Yeah, you got to get in that zone.
And I've seen you in that zone.
You got to get in that zone, man. Yeah.
But, you know, that was it. And then, you know, I just got beat up, you know, and he hit me a lot. And I was like, whew. Went in the car crying my eyes out. Man, I was like, damn, I'm not a Kodo. I'm not like a Trinidad.
Yeah. Had to shake it off.
I got to work for this shit, man.
Right.
So that.
What did you do differently after that happened? Like, how did you come back stronger?
I just stuck with the process and realized I had to work out.
Yes.
Like, you know, because people think you could, you know, boxing, you need cardio. You need to train for boxing. You need strength.
Right.
And after that, you know, as a coach, you got to, you know, start teaching them, you know, how your mind has to work.
Skill.
You have to learn how to fight in this ring. Talk to yourself. You know, you should be in a fight and literally you should just be only able to listen to your coaches and just talking to yourself. That's how zoned in you got to be. Yep. And it takes a lot of fights to get to that zone.
Right, a lot of sparring.
A lot of sparring. And I think the sparring, you know, sparring you still got to watch out. You can't do so much sparring.
Right.
Because you're still getting hit in the head.
Right.
You know, and with the way the rules are nowadays, they're saying even with the headgear, you're getting double the impact.
Really?
So
yeah,
I do believe that to be true.
Right.
That's why in other countries they have no headgear. They do amateurs.
During sparring?
No, they do amateur fights with no headgear.
Where at?
Ireland, I know.
Ireland does it.
Oh, wow.
I know Ireland, one of the main ones that do it.
Right.
Even when you
UK
see the amateur, like the World's Tournament, when you have all the different countries, they do it with no headgear.
Olympics, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like
the Olympics has headgear. I thought amateurs.
No, the Olympics does, but when you're doing, I don't know, it's a bunch of different countries, but it's like before the Olympics.
They take the headgear away.
There's no headgear.
Gotcha.
There's no headgear.
Yeah.
Like Dominican Republic.
Because they say it creates, I guess, more friction when getting hit and stuff, something like that with the headgear.
And it's something with that, but you know, it is what it is. I think they should be doing that anyway. But that was my experience as far as getting beat up.
Right.
Sure, because everybody does.
Adam, what do you think is the most important thing when it comes to boxing? Like as a boxer, for them to like stick to and remember?
Just stay consistent. Stay in the gym. Staying in the gym because, one, you were not getting in trouble. You're not getting in trouble there. But listening to the coach, that's probably the biggest skill because everything else is kind of teachable. But being able to hear your coach when everything's getting busy, you know, being able to hear them. Because the moment you stop listening things get real difficult for you.
Right, yeah.
Because like we were talking about before, like you said before, it's like, yo, I'm in it. I can't see the openings on the opponent. I gotta be able to hear my coach over everybody else's voice. I think that's probably one of the biggest skills to learn is to be able to hear your coach. And that also goes back to sticking with one coach, because if you start hearing other voices, you get real confused real quick.
Right, yeah. Right. How about you, Leo? What's the most important thing that you feel that a boxer should take heed to when it comes to boxing? For a boxer, the most important thing.
I'm gonna go to another part, but I feel like staying calm. When we as fighters, fighting is like nothing else. You know, even now with the experience I have, if I fought somebody in the street, I'm worried. Maybe not because I know how to throw hands. I'm more worried of anything else that could happen.
Right.
And I think that's what we, you know, knowing that you can pretty much die in a ring.
Right.
You know, these are little things where it's like, will you always be that composed? You know, knowing that could happen.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? But definitely the experience comes involved. But I would say for somebody that's just going in, when you're in that ring, just don't be overwhelmed. Learn how to stay as calm as you possibly can when you're fighting. Because if you're calm, you see things clear.
Yeah.
You'll see the opponent. You actually see their punches. But when you're freaking out, like, oh my God, I don't know, you know, and you put your hands up and you're blocking that punch, it's like, all you literally had to do was just block and throw,
Right.
Counter. And I think once a lot of fighters, once they start getting in the rhythm, because there's a rhythm in boxing.
Right.
Once you can get in your rhythm and stay calm, I think you'll be with all the other training that you do, you can be one of the best fighters.
Right. Yeah.
If you look at any of the greats, Mayweather, Canelo, all the greats, man, the one thing that they all do and they do well is they never take the eye off their opponent.
Yes.
That ain't because they're athletic. No, that's to do with they are just relaxed.
Right.
And they are calm. They've been here before, and they know not to get too overwhelmed in the situation that they're in.
Right.
So I think that's something that fighters should definitely try to control themselves with their
Keep in mind. Yeah.
keep their composure.
Yeah.
You get hit hard. A lot of fighters, what do? Like they get hit and they're like, no,
off, right?
they get pissed off, shit back. No, how about getting hit and just resetting?
Stay composed. Right.
Stay composed.
Yeah.
You'll get them back.
Right.
And it's 3 rounds. They're like, oh, it's only 3 rounds, a minute and a half, or 3 rounds, 2 minutes.
Right.
That's more than enough time.
Right. So that was beautiful from both of you. How important is it for a boxer to keep both of his feet in the gym? Like not have one foot in the door and one foot out the door when it comes to boxing?
We had a kid here that was strong. He was something that we've had a few kids like that where they're strong and they're good and they're really working, but they got one foot out in the street. And one kid in particular decided that he was I think he tried to rob a drug dealer or something like that, and it went crazy.
Right.
He was locked up for the last 2 years. If you'll accomplish more by staying away from all that crap and just staying in the gym and keeping your eye on the ball. And we hear this story all the time because specifically with fighting, it's the kids that really desperately need it, that are the ones that are in the gym that come to us. And it's unfortunately, you have a lot of the kids that are like, oh, but I like what they're doing over there. They're hanging out with all the girls. They're hanging out with they're hanging out with all the cool kids. They're getting twisted. They're going out and partying. I'm here hitting a bag. I'm here doing, the same thing over and over and over again, not realizing that doing that same thing over and over again, staying consistent, staying on the grind, is what's going to make you
Champion.
way better in life overall. Because those kids are the ones that are going to get into trouble. They're the ones that are going to get a girl pregnant at a young age. They're the ones that are going to end up in jail. They're the ones that are going to end up doing something stupid. But that looks like fun. And the reality is that the kids that don't get into that are the ones that land up being successful, whether as a boxer,
right,
or they just take the lessons that they've learned from boxing. Because realistically, we say that boxing is life. Everything that you learn here can be applied to everything else in life. It's like what Leo was saying. Staying calm, right, is like, you're going to get hit with a whole bunch of problems in life, no matter what. There's nothing that's going to be worse than getting hit in the face and trying to think through it. Yep. Staying cool, calm, and collected, and being able to go, okay, I see where the opening is. Hearing my coach. Okay,
that's the different opportunities.
100%.
Comparing it to just life in general.
You can get hit, you can get knocked down, but you get back into the ring.
Going to come.
You get back into the ring, and you find those opportunities because they're always going to present themselves. And those staying in the gym, staying 2 feet down, 10 toes down is really what it's about.
Right. Yeah. What's your opinion on having both feet in the gym? Same.
Man, I think for a coach, you never know, right? You never know when they're gonna stay in the gym. So back in the day, what they used to do was they would take a kid, throw them in the spar, and see if he comes back, right? Because he's gonna get beat up.
Right.
That's what most of them do, But what I do is, me as a coach, I like to engage, right? Like I need to know who you are. I need to know your background. I need to know, just everything. You have a family, and I do a lot of pad work. I do pad work because I could once I do the pad work, I can feel the power. I can feel like it's like I'm one with that person. So I know the gifts that they have. But when it comes to keeping 2 feet in, it's all your mindset when you first come in.
Right.
Are you coming in here thinking you want to be the champion of the world? You thinking in here you want to train? Because if you tell me you walk through the doors and you say, I want to be a champion of the world, I already know you don't even know what you're talking about. Because that's one out of very few. You're not just going to come in and say that and knowing that it's just
But that's
different.
the mindset.
That is the mindset
you start with.
That is the mindset you start with. And then once they come on in here, I really look at what you want to do. I look at like your skill, and then a lot of it is just kind of a lot of fighters. We're all ego driven. I'm damn near ego driven. You got to keep getting compliments, right? Because a lot of times, if you spar for the first time, you get beat up. You go into that. Everybody does it. Khalik's done it. Like you get into that mode where it's like, this ain't for me. Like fuck it, and you get crazy. But you keep giving them compliments. Tell them when they are doing good. And then they'll get to a point like Khalik did where it's like, this becomes fun. I get it. They understand the work. So making them understand everything they're going to go through, because I've been through it, and just seeing, day in and day out.
Yeah.
Okay, they're
day
coming
by
in.
day. Yeah.
They're coming in. And there's times where I train them, and right before they're about to fight, they may never do it again.
Right.
But that's okay.
Right.
Because I have a system, man. Like if you're with me for 3 months, in 3 months you'll be spar ready. And then after that, 6 months, you should be able to get your first fight.
Yep.
I've done trained these the kids and the adults like this, and it works every time.
Yep.
And once you are, before you fight, you're gonna learn how to throw every punch and learn how to move your head.
Right.
That's the start, and then everything else comes with it.
Right. Yep.
So,
what's the most important punch you feel like as a coach in boxing?
Listen, I'll take any fighter with a good left hook.
Okay.
That left, I mean,
that was different. I was expecting a different answer, but
a jab, you want that. That's your first best punch. But I'm a Theta Trend. I love the man, and you saw, if you know how to sneak that hook in good, that hook's gonna land every time. And I love the
catch
hook.
him on the chin, right?
What every trainer say, the jab. Yes, but me, I get a little fancy. Like, give me that hook.
The hook.
Give me that hook, because you could throw a hook down here, up it, wherever you want.
Right, got you.
And it's always, it could always be a punch that you don't see.
Right, and that correlates to different coaches do different things and have
100%.
different perceptions on their game plans and strategy. What about you, Adam? What's your most important punch in the boxing ring?
I think it's probably the same thing every other coach would say is the jab.
Yep.
The jab. It sets everything else up.
Right.
It's your pawn.
Yep.
Without your pawns, you just kind of open.
Right.
Right.
And
it sets everything else up.
Right, yeah, and a coach, like when I was boxing, that's what they said, the jab, the coach that I was working with, they always, and it all depends on the boxer, I feel like, too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because a tall, lanky person, jab's going to be perfect technique, distance, keep them out of range, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a short, stalky person, that hook is mean, you know what I'm saying? So his jabs may be too short to perfect it for that boxer, so he's a hooker. You know what I'm saying? He's an overhand right. He throws that overhand a lot, you know what I'm saying? So I guess it varies with the fighters and the coaches.
And you're right on that, because like I'm, as I was growing up fighting, but even what I do now, like I believe as a fighter, your offense could be a defense.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you mean offense could be a defense? Well, head movement is part of your offense. That's defense. Foot movement is part of your offense, but it's part of your defense as well.
Yeah.
Because moving out the way is a form of defense.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I do like teaching, us to sit down and fight.
Right, yeah.
Not that I want it to be a war every time. I will teach them to move around, but in the beginning, I feel like you should learn offense.
Right.
Defense takes a little longer, because you have to catch and shoot, and maybe some people are not as athletic to do that.
Right.
And the timing might be off, but that's something you learn in the process
100%.
as you're moving forward. But in the beginning, it's definitely, you're going to learn how to fight. You're going to learn how to sit down there, put the tie in the middle of the ring, both feet in there, and you're going to sit there and you're going to fight.
Right.
And that's what I like to show these guys, because there's going to be a time in the fight. Even when you're dancing, there's going to be a war.
Right, yeah.
And if you can't show me that you can do 8 to 10 rounds of war, I'm talking about, they hitting you, you hitting them, and having that heart.
Right.
It's hard for me to, to work with you moving forward, because I need that heart.
Right,
'cause
yeah.
It's going to get tough.
Yeah.
What are you going to show me?
Right. And I feel like it's going to get tough in the later rounds in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings me to this question, as far as how important is it for boxers to run and get cardio?
Oh, 100%.
Because that's, right?
We tell these guys, like in the summertime, we do swimming, we do running, we do everything.
We hike up Mount, what is it?
Tammany,
Yeah, Tammany.
Yeah, we're hiking, we're running. The summertime is no joke.
Yeah, it comes with the combat sports, and especially boxing, it comes with a whole pool of different things that you have to tend to heavily. What do you feel like is the most important one? What is it, the running or the sparring, or what do you think? It all comes together.
It all comes together. It's so hard, but
as long as you're staying consistent with it.
I would say running is the hardest because that's the most boringest thing for these guys to do. You know, I've talked to the fighters, so I know. Like, I have relationship with these guys. Like, you ask them all, like, yo, what's about training? It's running, man. I've been running.
Can we do something else? Can we do something else?
Yeah, I'll spar today. Like,
get out,
jump rope,
hit the rope.
You know,
baby.
when you have
Go.
experience, when you're like, I'd rather spar than run.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, you've done this a lot. Like, you don't even want to run no more. But you know, that's what it
rounds.
You even got guys like Deontay
12
Wilder.
rounds.
Yep, he never ran. He just sparred all day. You know, to me, that's lazy, man. You got to run, you know. But a lot of fights, they just refuse to do that, and I don't understand how.
Because the running is going to give you the cardio to go the distance, right?
Yes.
You know, when you're getting those body shots.
It should, yes. With a lot of the punches, a lot of things is people don't realize, you know, a lot of it is muscle memory. Everything in this is muscle memory. If I start working on a new punch I ain't never thrown before, I'm gonna start getting sore. Mm-hmm. But if I just keep on with what, you know, a lot of these kids when they're fighting, why do we do well? Because I implement every day going over the same crap over and over. Mm-hmm. Well, Cole, why are we moving our head again? I'm doing it because you can't move your head enough. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't realize all these kids now, they just want to block everything. What you gonna do when somebody's too strong?
Mayweather,
you ain't blocking
really
nothing.
Rolling it, trying to.
Mayweather's one out of many people, and I don't think he's ever fought anybody that much taller than him.
Right.
So he is picking his fighters, but regardless, he's still great.
Yeah.
You know, definitely top 5 in my book. But
Yep.
you know, so a lot of times when they're in the ring, they don't even hear the coaches because there's so much going on, and they're young and they're low. So what do? All they're gonna show is muscle memory. You know, and that's why a lot of these coaches, when I talk to them, I'm like, I'm looking at their fighter, and you know, because we're younger, we get talked to like we don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, so when I see them, I'm just like, you know, they'll talk to me and say, you know, you have a great fighter, and wow, you know, it's the fundamentals that they're doing is so great. Like, that's all that matters.
Right.
At least now is the fundamentals, and that's why, you know, we win a lot.
You know, I work with a lot of the kids that are still very new, and one of the things that happened not that long ago, which you had touched on, was, oh, why are we doing the same thing over and over again? Well, one of the parents came to us and was like, yo, my kid, Coach Leo, can my kid work with you? Because Coach Adam's having them do the same thing over and over and over again. Leo turns to him and he goes, yeah, that's because he won't start working with me until Adam gives him the green light. And the reason for that is because your kid doesn't know what he's doing. And until he fixes that problem.
Steps. You got to crawl before you walk.
100%. And so we have like a system here where I work with them to get them into their foot, into the stance. They know how to throw these punches and know how to move their head. They know when Leo says to slip, okay, Coach Leo, I'm slipping right. And then they move on to Coach Leo. And then from there, we grow them into the fighters that they're supposed to be, and Coach T works with them, and Coach Leo. You know,
and you know, I think that's the best part. You know, when you have a gym, because you know what's the problem with a gym, right? Is that you throw 5 coaches in here, everybody wants to be the top dog, right?
Right.
Because everything's a competition, and you know, this is why you want to open up a boxing gym so you could. Listen, I don't need a competition. You know, be in competition with you. I didn't even be in competition with myself, right?
Perception.
So, yep. So, you know, because I'm always going to say, you know, I'm the best. I'm the best, you know, out the trainer, you know, all this, because I know the work I'm putting in, but so does everybody else. That's why we keep working. But what I love about it here is when you in the gym and, you know, Coach T is a vet. You know, he's the vet. And when we're in here with him, you know, he understands how to move, you know, accordingly. Like, he sees the work I put in, but he's like, I'm here for you. You know, if I see
he's teaching you.
He's teaching me.
Because he's the OG into the game. Yeah, shout out Coach T.
And that's the best thing about that is like knowing that, you know, not only you're your owner, but you're a coach, but you're seeing like everybody working hand in hand.
Yes.
And anybody that breaks that, they out the door. Like, that's just how we are.
It's a team, yeah.
It's a team thing. That's why when you know, when my Pokemon comes in, we train like, it's fan. They already know what it is in here, man. They come in here, they say
great
what up.
vibes,
you know, Adam is just joking with Angel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm bullshitting with Verdo.
Right, yeah.
You know, the fighter talking like it's a brotherhood.
Great energy,
When you come in Wolfsden,
exciting. It's
a brotherhood. Like, you know, we love. You know, if you have anything to do with us, you know, or anything with helping us, we got your back. You know, we can do it, and that's what we build here.
And I think that's specifically because of the relationship that we have.
Yes, right.
100%. Anytime that I've ever had a run-in with somebody that has a problem with me, Leo's always had my back, and so it's been the other way. And when I say we have each other's back, it's aggressive, have your back. It's like,
that's how it should be when it comes to a team. Look out for your brothers, you know what I'm saying? And look out for your teammates, you know what I mean?
It's like,
that's how you're going to keep climbing.
That's it.
Even when it gets slippery.
Hell yeah.
I couldn't ask for a better partner and somebody God really gave me the right person as my business partner.
Amen.
We've had things where we don't always agree, but one of us knuckles under, and we really do work so well together, because it's like, all right, I see where you're coming from. Let's do this. Okay, I trust you. Let's do this. And I couldn't ask for a better partner.
Right, yeah.
There have been nights where we're on the phone until 12, 1 in the morning, just talking about, what can we do better? What went well today? What went wrong? How can we do this better? I didn't like what you did. Okay, I'll fix that. Okay, I don't like what you did here. I'll work on doing this better. And it's just constant communication. Yeah. And we take jabs at each other a little bit, but it's all in good fun, and it's all in like, all right, I see that you mean what you're saying, but all right, I'll work on that.
Right.
And it's worked so well because of that. And God really did give us the best partner.
Right. Amen. Yeah. What would be a dream come true for you guys as coaches? Like to take one of your fighters to, what would be a dream come true? Like, you know what I'm saying? Have you been to any big fights, like a Tank fight or anything? I haven't. I've never been to one before.
Yeah, I've been to, I met somebody.
I would like to go.
I saw the, just people I met, or the fights that I went to?
Yeah, big fights that you went to, like as in the boxing industry.
So Raul Venezuela against Edwin De Los Santos. I was there. I was in the corner for that fight.
It's just the atmosphere is crazy.
Well, yeah. So that was my first time, being.
And so you were there for the fight. That's what you're saying. You were in the corner. So beautiful. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
right.
Look up the YouTube video of Raul Venezuela and
the crazy
De
part
Los Santos. You'll see him holding up.
Definitely, I was holding the belt. What's crazy is you go from nothing, right, and then all of a sudden you're at a fight with all these people, and then you see all the celebrities up front. Like, you could tell the difference, and this is for people that don't know, but you could tell the difference, because you go up on the stands, and as you start dropping down, it's one thing you see is jewelry.
Yep.
Like, you start seeing the jewelry just shine, and I'm just like, wow, like you could just tell.
Fight
the difference.
night.
You could, and then you have like
at the high levels, yeah.
Yep, you have like the Javante Davis around, the Broners, and you just see them all jewelried out, and it's cool.
Yeah, it's a dope feeling, like being the professional. That's the plan.
And the air is different. It's like there's a bunch of people there, but it's like stuffy, but not stuffy.
Right.
It's like air circulating. But
it's so packed.
And then like the way, I always thought, like, when people are screaming, you start hearing it, but you hear it like it's not the same. Right. It's like you hearing it, but it feels so far away.
Right.
And you're literally involved, and the fighters don't hear nothing. I'm pretty sure they can't.
Yeah, it's locked in, tunneled in.
You might as well not even yell in the corner, because you're just wasting your voice at this point.
Yeah.
But it's a very
dream come true. So like, you know what I mean? You guys been to Vegas before? Yeah. I want to go to Vegas. It was you guys both went to Vegas?
No. I mean, I've been to Vegas, but not for a fight.
Yeah. I went for the fight with Johan Vasquez. I went with him. That was pretty. It was pretty dope.
Yeah, the experience.
I'm trying to remember what. Yeah, we fought in some like hotel, but the experience was good.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
In California, was good too, like San Francisco.
Yeah,
I remember people were beautiful over there.
Yeah. What's it like going? Where you get flown out? You got to book your flights when you're taking your fight, or you're invited just going to watch the fight?
They just kind of the promoters, they do all that. They take care of everything.
Yep.
They just give it all to you or the manager,
right?
Which Adam is, and then
they tell you, hey, we want your fighter to come here.
Adam will be like, yo, this is all your paperwork, and
we booked your hotels.
Everything's done.
Flights, but
everything's done. Now it's just you and the fighter, man.
And how does that usually work when you go somewhere far for a fight? Like, as a coach, you bring your fighter to a fight, like somewhere Vegas or something. You get flown out. What do you usually get flown out, and you go to the spot the day before or 2 days before?
So,
what is it?
So with Johan, it was pretty cool. You fly out. They had like little girls with a little poster.
Yeah.
How you doing? Yeah. Top rank. Woohoo.
Yeah.
And then from there they'll have
the airport.
Yeah, at the airport. Like, this is when you're walking toward outside, or when you're going down the stairs, and then from there they kind of just already have a ride for you.
There's a day before the fight or 2 days before?
Yeah, I would say like 2 days, like 2
Nice.
days.
So you have a
before.
day to just
we were out there for like 3 days.
settle in.
Yeah,
because the fighter's really
Weigh-ins.
just he's getting down in his last 2 pounds or so they want them to be comfortable and everything.
Right. So
And
they
they-
get you out there like 3 days, 2 days before the fight.
Yep.
in
Then you
town.
get over there, get in your hotel room. You know, for coaches and fighters, it's like it's all business. You know, but because you want to make sure your fighter's doing good and he's going through all these emotions and you got to deal with all that. But
Right.
other than that, I mean, you just there to give you a little food voucher. You can eat, and sometimes they'll put you in a casino. You know, go figure.
Yeah.
So you'll be in like the hotel,
goes
and
the
then right
food
downstairs.
voucher.
You know,
There goes the food voucher. There you go.
yeah.
Right.
And then
Enjoying
but
yourself,
other than
spending
that,
money, making money.
you just chill and you just wait the first day, and then it's all paperwork and crap like that.
Right.
Talking to people, and if you got a main fighter, they'll come like a week before or so,
Got you.
and then they do all these interviews and stuff like that. But it's cool.
Beautiful journey. Yeah, One Life. Yeah, this is One Life podcast, episode number 40. And one thing I love to ask my talented guests that come on to the One Life podcast, you are my talented guests on this episode number 40, passionate, two great dudes running business right now, changing lives of different individuals who come into your establishments. What is some great positive advice that you could give the viewers out there watching, people out there watching, chasing their dreams throughout this one life, trying to get to their success? What is some great positive advice that you could leave them with?
Stay on your grind and don't get distracted. Just as business owners, we've come into other opportunities, I guess you could say. But we after a month of being like, yo, we can really do this, da 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 da, it turns out to be a distraction from what you're meant to do, and it takes you away from growing your original venture. And you don't get bigger unless you put everything into that one thing. And it's really all about putting everything into the one thing and completely focusing on it and not giving up on that dream. Because once you start getting distracted with doing 10 other things, you only have so many resources and so much time to be able to get into that.
To connect it.
Yeah.
Going on a topic we talked about before, anybody that's going to go in, and this is what I tell people all the time, anybody that's going to go in and find a partner or work with a partner, I always tell people, find somebody who's totally different from you, right? When me and Adam started this partnership, I understood and he understood we were two different people, And I think that if me and him wanted to go into this as coaches, would it work as a partnership? Probably not. Right. But one wanted to be a manager, one wanted to be a coach, and then we kind of understood, like, I'm gonna learn from you anyway, so we might as well just learn from each other.
Right.
And I think if anybody that's looking for a partner, or going into it, definitely, and it's not like no hard feelings, but you got to find somebody that's nothing like you.
Right.
Because that's how you'll be able to shine. Because we are not the same. He likes doing things I don't like doing. I do the things he doesn't like to do.
Right.
And that's what is really making us successful. So anytime people are out there and they're like, I need a partner. Partnerships are the greatest because you don't do the journey by yourself.
Right.
It's beautiful. But when you're doing it with someone, it's like you always have that person to talk to.
Carry the weight together.
You carry the weight and it doesn't feel as rough as it would be with somebody that does it alone.
Right.
And what ends up happening is that your partner starts to see what you want out of certain things. So they're able to, for instance, Leo's a far better coach than I am, without a doubt. So I know what he wants out of a fighter. So the kids that are with me, working with me, that are in the beginning, I'll work on, okay, I know that this is the type of fighter that Leo likes to work with. So I'm going to get you to throw these punches to the best you possibly can. Right. And when I green light them to go over to Leo, they've already got this foundation of, okay, I don't have to worry about this. Or if I want certain things, done on the computer, Leo already knows, here's what you're already going to ask for. Right. I already know. And it just
organization,
yeah.
Yep.
It works out really well as you guys grow, and because we're so different from each other.
Right.
And I think and I think for the last bit of my advice was just it's all about staying disciplined. So many people start something that finish.
Right. And
those numbers are way higher than we think they are.
Right.
I mean, even us, sometimes we'll make that mistake, but just staying disciplined, if you're gonna, I tell myself all the time, I got to get back on this diet, it's little things like that, like just staying disciplined, because before you go out in life, you want to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And staying disciplined and staying consistent, you know, having the discipline. Those are the two things you need. I think that would get you wherever you need to be, or at least where God wants you to be.
Amen.
And that's pretty much my advice for everybody.
Fire, that's dope right there. There you have it, man. This is the One Life Podcast, episode number 40, with my boy Leo and Adam. Come on down. This is Wolfsden Boxing in East Stroudsburg on Main Street. East Stroudsburg, correct? Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Wolfsden Boxing. They doing very big things here. Just breeding and teaching, training champions, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out all the great people out there chasing their dreams, doing their thing on their road in their journey to a successful lifestyle for your family. Keep it up. Stay tapped in. This is One Life Podcast, episode number 40. There you have it. We out of here. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The One Life Podcast.
So